All right, what's going on, people? We are back with another live, bringing you another professional that you guys can learn a little bit of, love, trust, right? Get to know a little more because that's what it's all about. We do business with people we know, like, and trust, right? So I want to bring on Dr. Carmion Pope. She is a holistic doctor. I've met her a couple months ago, and man, I love everything about her. We get, along so greatly because, hey, what do you know? I love to practice with holistic stuff as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring her on. How you doing, Doc?
Hi, thanks for having me.
No, no, thank you so much for getting on this live. I know a lot of people are going to learn a lot of good information from you. So I mean, what I always ask all my guests first is, why did you become a doctor?
Well, I think it's everybody's dream or a lot of kids' dream to find their purpose and to find something where they can serve the public and something that's rewarding and giving back.
For
So
sure.
I was blessed with being able to find that through life's challenges and things. And I had a lot of health issues as a young when I was young, and I was not a good patient. Didn't want to take medication and drugs, and so I naturally looked for holistic and alternative treatments. And so it kind of led me into doing my own research and my own therapies on myself. And then I found Chinese medicine that I could get licensed in, which I've been licensed in for 17 years now in Florida.
Wow. And why did you choose Chinese medicine? Like, what was?
Well, it is so there is some logistics behind that as in licensing in Florida. There's certain specialties that don't get licensed, but my main experience was having acupuncture, and that's what changed my life. And that's primarily what I do. I would say at least 75% of my patients or people that see me are getting coming to get body work or acupuncture or some form of that.
Wow.
So naturally, it took me through Chinese medicine. Now we have other genres that do acupuncture, but we have a 3,000, we have 3,000 clinical hours that we have to do in our program. So it is
Wow.
it's a 4-year program. So a master's program versus like some other specialties that might take a weekend course in acupuncture. So I did the full 4 years and did all,
Wow.
really wanted to learn, it inside and out. And the rest of it was natural to have be into the herbs and
Yeah.
supplements and the health, the lifestyle.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Now, what exactly is acupuncture for somebody that doesn't know? And I honestly still don't understand it myself.
You know what? And you don't have to understand it, but this is my goal as I get older, is to educate and teach about this, because the fact is our body heals itself, and anybody that
True.
gets can have a cut or a wound and can heal from it. There is a huge likelihood their body can resolve a lot of health issues itself. So it's kind of the mechanism to create your body's nervous system from your brain all the way down to kind of tweak itself. So I tell people it's like doing a tune up on your body, instead of your car. This is the tune up. And, it gives us information when we connect those dots, and we can be healthier. Plus, we have, better communication with our body on what it needs.
So pretty much what makes us have the better communication exactly?
Yeah, so the actually doing the acupuncture. So,
Ah,
so I also work, so I say family practice because I work with children and I do work with all ages. I have a lot of patients from all ages, and I do even work with animals. So,
wow.
you know, anybody could put a needle in you, but there is an art to where you put the needles. And Chinese medicine and acupuncture, there are other forms where they call it trigger point acupuncture, where they put the needle where it hurts. We put the needles all based on this person's body type, their other health issues they have going on, so many different things. And by putting those little needles in different spots, it makes the brain actually create that chemical release, or that works on the nerves so that they communicate better. It brings the body's awareness that it has digestive stuff that it might not know what to do about. And here you bring that awareness, and the body starts creating the enzymes it needs to fix that thing, and it goes away on its own. Wouldn't that be nice?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you had stuck a pin in my ear.
I did get you,
It
yes.
actually doesn't even hurt. I thought it would actually hurt, and I'm sure a lot of people believe that it may hurt, and that's probably
Yeah,
why.
and I tell people there are, you know, you really want to know who you are going to. So a lot of my business is on referral basis at this point, since I've been in practice so long, and I have a very busy practice. So a lot of it is on referral basis. But yeah, you definitely want to know who you're going to. There are other forms, many forms of acupuncture. I do many styles, but I start with what we call Japanese style, which is you barely put the needle in. And with children, or people that don't want needles, I have other things. I have little magnets, actually, I use little that are taped
Wow.
on band-aids. And we put those over the little acupressure points on the body. And for children, you put them on their backs or their ears, and, places where they might not be able to pick them off, and they are working on the body, like the needles would be. The needles we leave in for about 15, 20 minutes, give or take. But these other little things that we might use, they might be in someone's ear for 2 weeks, and it prevents eating disorders and stuff, and it affects their desire to want to binge eat, and things like that. So we have
Wow.
many forms of acupuncture, but the Japanese style is very gentle. You barely feel it.
Wow. Now you punch your points. Can you tell us a little bit of some of those points?
Yeah, if people link up with me on my Facebook page and my Instagram and so on, you'll see I will post often, you know, videos or maps of the acupressure points that we use for different conditions. A lot of people know this one here. It treats, here it goes. It treats
Mhm.
right here, it treats headaches and stomach aches and sinus issues and allergy symptoms, so many things. We just don't use this point. It's between your index finger and your thumb. We don't use this for women that are pregnant. It's actually it can create miscarriages. So we don't use that for
Wow.
women that are pregnant. It's very powerful. But some of these things are great. You can use them. I got into it because my uncle, that was another thing. He did pressure points. He was in martial arts. And I thought that was
Wow.
super cool. So a lot of the same pressure points are acupressure points. So there are
Now,
painful spots mostly.
now, what are those pressure points though? Like, why? Like, how did they come up with this?
Yeah, well, we have documented like 5,000 years ago is when they
Wow.
had these soldiers that had all these acupressure points all over them in China. So it's been around a very, very long time. It's in the oldest book called the I Ching. So it's part of the history of China, and it's in day-to-day life getting acupuncture. So for us, it's more kind of new agey, but it's a very old system. So that's been around. And what they did is they found they basically was designed, found by Buddhist monks, was some of the history. And they found that there was energy in the body that circulated. And the energy we're talking about is called qi. It is
I've heard of
associated
that.
and it does
I've heard
relate
of
a
that.
bit to your nervous system, but it is a different system all on its own.
Wow.
So that's why we do want you to see a licensed acupuncturist versus anyone else, because we're tapping into those points, those spots, and it's not just where it hurts. It's they're laid out through the body through lines, and you get to this is part of the 4 years of curriculum. There's over 3,000 acupuncture points. The ear is a whole unit itself. So is your foot. They use that in reflexology. That's very popular. So there is many acupuncture units, but if you're not actually keeping the format or creating some type of format, it's maybe working on one thing versus multiple things at the same time.
Wow. Now you talked about different styles. I mean,
Hmm.
I know you focus on Japanese, but maybe if somebody ends up somewhere else, what are maybe some different styles that maybe somebody might run into?
Right. Well, so the styles that I do and that most people do is a lot of people do, like that Japanese style. It's very gentle, and it gets great results. I have patients that come in and they're like, "Oh yeah, I had a Chinese acupuncturist, or I was in China, and there was a different, a Chinese acupuncture. It's its own style. I was trained in that first, and then I picked up these other styles." Um, and that is definitely a lot more painful. It's a lot more invasive. Some people love that. I had a doctor that worked for me for many years that did that style, and she had her own following, and then I had my own following. So
Wow.
I can switch up the styles, and I do mix them up. Also, we do cupping. So some doctors don't do cupping, or some do. I do many different forms of that. That's acupressure. Here's a suction cup I use. I just had this on my back earlier.
Wow.
Um, Here's another one. This is actually does suction. It's got infrared heat, and it does massage at the same time.
I've been
So
dying
there's
to
many
like
different. Excuse me.
I've been dying to use one of them, but I'm scared I'm gonna get like the marks left on me.
Right. So that's another thing. I think Michael Phelps did not do us justice with the cupping he had, So that is an invasive form of cupping that we
Wow.
do very specifically for people that are doing trauma to their body. So it's like as much trauma as they're doing, we got to do that much to recover those
Wow.
body parts quicker. So the bruising actually helps to recover quicker.
Wow.
But
I didn't
I
know
don't,
that.
that's not the style that we're doing here and what I do. So rarely do any of my patients ever have a bruise, ever, ever, ever. And if
Wow.
they do, I let them know. I'm like, oh, this one might bruise. Do you want it there? If they're going to a wedding, they might not want their back maybe bruised, but rarely does that happen with the style I do. And I'm not working with those kind of people mostly. I do have a lot of
Yeah.
athletic patients, but rarely am I doing that very strong cupping. So there's other styles of that as well.
Nice, nice. Now, I know you said you prefer like the gentle style. Why do you prefer the more gentle type of acupuncture and stuff like that versus
Well, I've just through my own experience, you don't need to doesn't need to be painful to work.
got it?
It doesn't at all. There is
Wow.
rare, I mean, very rarely do I have people like, oh, that one hurt, and I take it out. I was trained many different ways. The first way I was trained was like, you leave it in. That's good. And I have patients that are like that. They're like, oh no, don't take it out, leave it in, if it's sore, if it hurts or something when it goes in. But it's usually just an initial little pinch, like a little, like an ant bite. Most people don't even feel it, but if they do, it's very minimal. And
Got it.
if there's any residual experience, then I take it out. Or, like I said, there's a lot of people like, oh, leave it in. But rarely do you feel it, and there's not that bruising, that a lot of bruising involved. So other styles you could bruise, you can
Wow.
there's more chance of having injury, which is very rare in our field. Um, these other runoffs of acupuncture do have more, we have a lot more injuries. So do see a licensed acupuncturist versus anybody else. But yeah, we don't need to do that. So it works good for me. And, like I said, I've been doing this a long time. So if people do need to be hit over the head, I can do that as well. I can give them a strong acupuncture treatment if that's what they need, you know?
Wow. What is like your ideal client? Like mostly? Like what kind of people do you typically deal with the most?
Well, I would say my clients are all repeat patients. I mean, I see the same people
Nice.
um a lot, and I see there's two different kinds of people. It's people that have an immediate acute issue, it gets better, and they might see me a couple times, and then I don't see them again. Right now, I have a young boy who on and off gets a chronic cough. He's 6 right
Wow.
now. So he gets this cough that right now, right, COVID, right? So he's got this like allergy cough, and he's always being sent home or whatever because he's got this cough and he's not sick. So I haven't seen him in 2 years since he was 4. Now I'm going to see him again, and I'll probably see him once or twice. I do cupping on him. I actually do more of this on him, the suction cups on him for about 15-20 minutes. Um, he does it to himself. The kids love it, and he usually doesn't need to see me again because the cough goes away by the next day.
What? That's crazy. So you see results, I mean, as early as sometimes the next day.
Oh yeah, within 24 to 48 hours there are results. So some of the results is, kind of things getting worse before they get better in a way.
Yeah.
People's shoulders adjust themselves. So sometimes it's like you feel that you're sore as you're,
Wow.
for a couple days after acupuncture as your body adjusts things, and then you have a period of
Wow.
time where you have long-term relief. And that's another reason why I got into this. I did so many other therapies for the 8 years that I had chronic pain. That's really one of the things that led me to this. And I now can get an acupuncture treatment once every 3 months, and I take nutritional supplements. And I know how much rest I need and all these other things because I do these testing on myself as well, the tests that I do. And so I don't have to go and get adjustments every two days. I don't have to be on pain meds. I mean, although I was recommended surgery 30 years ago. So, and I haven't done it. So, God bless, this works, and it works long term.
Wow. Now, I know there's like the belief that, sometimes, because I remember I used to think the same thing, but based on the conversations we've had, it sounds like I could just go to you if I like feel sick or I feel things wrong, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I do family practice. I mean, a lot of my patients I see today, it's about keeping them healthy, preventing disease. The first 2 or 3 months maybe of treatment for
wow.
chronic diseases is all about recovery, all about doing treatments or nutritional supplements, or it just depends on people's interests and what they're willing to do. And I work with that, and we create a treatment protocol, and then it's just really more of managing and maintaining. So yes, I treat everything from colds to flus. Like I said, I got this kid with this chronic cough right now that I'm seeing again, to chronic stomach aches. Um, nobody can help me stuff. I really see a lot of people last resort, and I would love to see people sooner.
Wow.
When they before they have health issues, when things are just like percolating, maybe,
What about people with like hypertension, arthritis, and things like that? Are you able to help those
Yes.
people as well?
So that's another thing. I'm not just speaking for myself, in Chinese medicine, arthritis is huge. I mean, it is something that can be put in remission for a long period of time. Some people that have rheumatism, it grows, it spreads, it goes to these other fingers and your toes, and we can stop that. There's supplements that stop it. There's the herbs that stop it, let alone, acupuncture works on inflammation. It works on circulation. It works on, when we don't have enough cartilage in our joints, your body can create some fluid there and circulation there. So you don't need cartilage, although you have to manage that. But, some things aren't fixed, but your body is all about kind of finding as balance and managing what it has going on with itself.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Now, let's talk about a little bit about the herbs, right? Show these people what you know about some herbs.
Right. Well,
Pretty much.
I am trained in Chinese herbology. That's a
Okay.
whole other thing. I mean, all these herbs are from China. They've been grown there for thousands of years. The quality control is absolutely amazing. All those come to California, tested in California, uh, capsuled, everything. There's serious quality control, and people think herbs are not. So there is,
Yeah.
and they have been prescribed for thousands of years, there is an herb and a formula for every disease. There is not a cure in nature. There is a cure in nature for any disease. God has never
That's
put there's
bold.
not
That's
a yin
bold.
without a yang, right? The
That's
sun without the
bold, Doc.
moon. So you're gonna have there's an herb for everything, and you can take it in pill. You could drink it in tea. Here's a tea. This is an herbal tea that I'm drinking. You know, and that was from Publix Yogi tea. It's organic. You can get it from Publix. These things are easily accessible. You have hyper kids, give them a little bit of calm tea before they go to bed. It's
That's
great
true.
for them. It's non-addictive. I mean, these are these great little things. Soon I will be teaching more of that. I will have a subscription and something up where I'll be teaching functional living and seasonal living. And that's what a
Yeah,
lot about that is about. Like when it's cold season, drinking the tea every day is so helpful just to keep your throat coated, and things
for
like that.
sure.
So there's
For
an herb
sure.
for everything. I'm also very versed in CBD and cannabis, which is getting popular now. So I do consider myself like a cannabis expert. So I have a
Nice.
lot of patients that come to me and are taking cannabis or want to or have been prescribed it. They don't know how to use it. They have no clue if when to take it or if it should go with their medications. That's everything that I do. So I do look at people's medications. I put them on herbal equivalencies if they need or want. Some things we can't do that
Yeah,
with, some medications. But I'm passionate about that because I want people off drugs. They're synthetically made. They're not from the earth, and they will make people sick long term.
wow.
I'm
So you
passionate about that.
so you definitely can help somebody who is maybe on certain medications maybe come off.
Yes, and no matter what, I do highly recommend if you are diabetic, you have cholesterol issues, you have high blood pressure issues, and you're on medication and it is under control, you still have that condition, okay? There is still side effects that are going on because that condition is still it's still going on because you're just treating the symptoms with the drugs versus treating the root of where that syndrome came from and fix it from there or treat it from there. We can correct a lot of these syndromes early on. But once you got, have diabetes for 30 years, that's not something we might be able to treat. Although
Yeah,
or correct, we can get you comfortable and keep people where their sugar is balanced. But all
wow,
these people should be taking herbal therapy with their medications. If you're
wow, for
taking a
sure.
blood pressure medication, you should be taking a fish oil. You know, there are certain things that go along with it. There's other things. Some people can't take fish oil because they're on blood thinners. So there's so many other factors, and that's where I come in versus people just going, "Oh, I think I need this. Let me
For
take
sure.
it."
For sure.
And I do customized vitamin mineral nutrition as well. So they know exactly what they need to take.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I've read on articles before where, and I just want to know how you feel about this, you being the expert, where they say, "Oh, stop all herbs when you're taking medicine." So, and my thought process is like, "No, let's get off the medication. Let's slow down the medication while we start taking more herbs, right?" So,
And
how do
I'm
you
right
feel
there with
about that?
you. And that's a
Exactly.
fine line because, there's a lot of politics with that,
I
right?
know, I know, I
And
know.
I legally cannot tell people to get off their medications. That's
Of
not my
course.
job.
Of
I
course.
send them back to their MDs or I work with their MDs and say, hey, they're on this and this and this, and they're having these symptoms, and so I work with a lot of MDs, but
Oh,
yeah,
so you will
that's what
do
I'm
that.
all about. If you're
Awesome.
my loved one, I'm like, oh no, you need this, and this, get off of that. And, or if they want that. But
Exactly,
so some
exactly.
people, it's easier to take the pills, right? So it really takes effort to be healthy. Yes, I mean, I don't recommend at all someone going on a blood thinner and then stop eating kale. That to me is ludicrous. I don't understand that. You need to have green leafy vegetables to live. They have so many other benefits. You can't cut out spinach and kale. Those are super important.
For
So
sure.
I don't understand that either. And I'm right there with you. I always go back. I'm always like, okay, you need more herbs, you need more kale and get off the blood
I,
thinner.
exactly. I don't get it either. But yeah, I mean, you always want to consult with your MD and things like that, of course. but that's good to know that you actually will work with doctors. Do you get like good feedback from doctors sometimes, or do you kind of get
Oh
like
yeah.
pushbacks?
You know what? I've learned through the years, you get your posse, right? I even have, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, of course.
I see holistic Western practitioners are open. My MD is open. She knows that I am not going to be compliant, like take something long term. I'm looking for other solutions. So it's all about finding those doctors that also are looking to get away from prescribing medications and getting people more into healthy living. So, there's less of those in the world, but there's going to be more. Insurance is just going to get more expensive, and people, they're going to get benefits of being healthy versus, using insurance and having to take medications and drugs, you know?
Now, that's so important that you said that because I actually have these type of discussions with people too, where it's okay, in my opinion, to get on a medication for short term, right? If you got to stabilize something or whatever it is, totally cool. But yes, look for somebody like yourself or somebody that can help you gradually get off of it, right? I mean, I'll be honest, my grandmother, they didn't want to take her off medications. All I did was take her to another doctor and he took her off everything,
Yep.
right? So
It's it,
it
yep.
it's that simple, right? You always want a second opinion, a third opinion, and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's very, very important for sure.
Especially as I want to say about mental health disorders that I treat a lot as well,
Wow,
um, there is
that's
no
huge.
Right. There's no testing. There is no blood work really for mental health disorders. There's not. You see a psychiatrist, they go, "Oh, what are you feeling?" "Well, I don't really know. I feel like crap." And like, "Okay, well, I think you're depressed." I mean, so they're really, that's something I'm very passionate about. I am a trauma survivor myself. I didn't even know until I was in my 30s that a lot of my health issues had to do with physical trauma, getting beat up when I was a kid, falling off my bike, jumping off mountains, just kind of no fear kid, and let alone emotional and sexual trauma that I dealt with as a child. So
Wow,
all that stuff, a pain pill can't treat that. Okay. Those, they can't, and also, Lexapro and this and that can't treat that long term. There's other methods to get to those roots, and that's where the acupuncture part comes in. But herbal therapy and seeing a holistic doctor for mental health is essential. We have diagnostic methods. We can tell if you're anxious or if you're bipolar. We can see
wow,
through your tongue, your pulse, check let alone the things that you tell us. But we have diagnostic methods to test these things,
wow,
let alone lab work that I can do, that I
wow.
test.
What?
Right. So I test heavy
Wow,
metals for mental health issues. Heavy
wow,
metals is huge for mental health issues these days. And who tests it? I do. But blood work doesn't test that, you know. So
wow.
this is all new agey, like new for us, but if you guys anybody watched Eric what Brockovich, that movie back in Aaron Brockovich, right back in the 80s, right? That's happening. Their water's dirty.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I believe it.
So it's all about preventing and being smart and starting to realize that, there takes more effort to be healthy. And if you have something going on, there is a cause for it, period.
Yeah,
Okay. You're
yeah,
not just going to wake up one day and start feeling anxious. Something's been going on that has precipitated that.
yeah. Like chemical imbalances, right? Something like that.
Being exposed to chemicals.
Yeah,
Where
that's
does the
true.
chemical imbalance come from? Being exposed to chemicals, heavy metals, too much plastics. Some people
That's
can't get
true.
this out of their bodies, but no, everybody's perfect. Your body's perfect. You're born with everything, all the capacity you need
Preach,
to be a
preach.
kind, loving, generous human. But things get in the way of that, and sometimes it's trauma. That was some of my stuff. I, got to a point where I couldn't even it was hard to be nice to my mom. I hate to say it, but it was because I
Yeah.
had this stuff with her. And until I did my work and did some more healing on myself, like I can really enjoy her today. But at one time, and we don't realize that that's where some of this stuff comes from, you
No,
know?
I totally agree. Like, we live in America, obviously. This junk food is everywhere. And I realized that when I get into the habit of, oh, let me just pick up the wings, let me just pick up the pizza and this and that, I do feel very uneasy. I'm not myself. I'm more lethargic. I don't, I'm just like I totally feel it. But when I, eat the herbs and eat, the right foods, man, I feel like you can't touch me, right? So
Well,
it's
there's a
it's
lot to be said just by the fact of picking up something on the run versus the mindfulness of being at home and taking that hour to make a dinner with love, you know? And
yeah.
even if it's something simple, we really rarely eat meat in this house anymore.
Hmm.
So it makes it much easier to have meals when there's a lot less animal protein involved, you know.
I do want to talk
And
about that. I want to talk about that from an expert. What is your opinion on meat? And we're gonna get a
well,
lot, we're
I am
gonna get
from
a lot of stuff.
Wisconsin. Well, I grew up on meat and potatoes. I'm from Wisconsin, and my mom, when I told her I wasn't drinking cow's milk anymore, she was like thinking I was gonna die or something. Like
I
it was
know, I know.
sacrilegious, right? It was just not right on any level. So, well, I learned through experience a lot of it myself. I mean, I had IBS when I was younger. Then so I dealt with a lot with myself and trying to figure out what the heck was going on with my gut, and through my own, I'm very big into personal development, and I went to Tony Robbins and learned more about, um, so learned a lot about just clean eating there. That was pretty cool. I thought I knew a lot, and
Yeah,
so I just started doing more research. A lot of it is about researching and experiencing it. So I have people, I'm like, hey, try it out. You gotta, it's like, it takes 4 to 6 weeks really to change
detox.
the pH and the lactic acid buildup from animal protein. But there's a lot of good stuff from animal protein. It's just animals, 100 years ago were treated with respect. They were fed grass fed. I mean, when I was growing up in Wisconsin, the cows were all free range. Now they're not free roaming. Now they're in barns and fed grains. So when you're feeding them the wrong food, then their bodies are sick in a way. And then you're eating that. There is, right. And then we have mercury in the fish and animal. I mean, and anything that comes from the ocean. So these are things really has to do with these environmental things more so than anything. And we've just overconsumed dairy for so long that our guts are, suffering. So it
Yeah,
does take, not everybody should eat vegan, but we should all eat vegetarian, I truly believe, which would
for
be,
sure.
maybe having animal protein a cut every other day, maybe having it for one meal, you
Yeah,
know, I know it's a lot to ask, or maybe one meal a day where you have a little animal protein. Maybe your dinner, you have a little 2 or 3 ounces of some type of clean animal protein, which is not cheap. So if you're going to be
yeah,
buying it, I mean, you need to get grass fed, free range. I'm talking eggs, everything if you're going to eat it.
for
Other than
sure.
that, it's best to go out to eat once a week and eat whatever you want then and just kind of have that, give yourself that, and try
Yeah,
to eat clean throughout the week at home and keep those foods out of the house.
for sure. I mean, it's hard. I don't blame anybody. I mean, I'm not a big meat eater, but just, I mean, like that's why I can't move out of Florida, out of my city, because I go to this farmer's market
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm scared. I'm scared that I'm not gonna be able to like find my food. You know what I mean? Like I'm big, on just all these different foods and herbs that I can't find anywhere. So I'm like, oh, I'm stuck in my city.
Yeah, you said you're like VIP there, I'm gonna have to go there. Maybe I'll get a discount since I
For
know you were
sure.
home.
I promise. I asked them one time and they're like, "Yo, you are our biggest spender." So for sure,
I
for
do
sure.
that too. And all this stuff is easy, right now I have stuff in the freezer. I can whip up a really quick, like if my kid doesn't know what she wants to eat. I'm like, how about a smoothie? She's like, oh yeah, I want a smoothie. right?
Oh
Who
yeah,
doesn't like smoothies, right? So,
exactly.
but you start them little with seeing green stuff in their food and they're not freaked
Exactly.
out with a green smoothie. It
Exactly.
tastes, it's got berries in it. I put apple in it, a little bit of concentrated apple juice. I do a little bit of that because for her to sweeten it up a little bit for her. So
Yeah.
it's palpable. And then I put a little kale in it and spinach, and she loves
Yeah.
it. And it's very, it's sweet for a kid, they like it, but it's also very healthy, and it's healthier than if they were eating some animal protein. Animal
For
protein
sure.
is really going to cause a lot more problems for them as they get older because of the lifestyle of them,
Oh, for sure. I always
versus
tell people.
you could eat actually more animal protein and dairy products from the cows in Europe. They actually have they're totally different cows. It's a different breed of cows, and
Wow.
some health food stores do sell that type of milk, and it's easier to digest. Or goat's milk is better, and easier to digest as well. But the idea is you're not a cow, and we need to eliminate animal products from our diet. We're not cows, and we really we're finding out that we need
For
more
sure.
vegetables in our lives these days.
For sure. That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I always tell people, at least have a balance, right? Eat all the meat you want, eat all the this and that. But I mean, dude, you can add a little more greens and fruits and things like that, right? And then even you come to find out after you've eaten a bunch of fruits and this, you're actually full, So, I
Oh
like me,
yes,
for
and on
example,
that note,
before
I just yeah, this great documentary. Go ahead.
no, no, that pretty much like me sometimes go out, I'll make me a smoothie and I'll eat all the fruits and this and that. That way, before I go out or I go shopping, I'm not like, hey, let me get the sandwich and sub and this and that. So it definitely helps.
It does. You have to be, definitely mindfulness when you're getting groceries, and where you put things in the house is also helpful. Like if I get cookies, which I rarely do, they go somewhere the kids can't see them. They go somewhere I can't see them. It's like,
Exactly.
oh, I found the cookies. Oh, I'm going to have one or two. I mean, we might have
Yeah.
cookies in the fridge for like 3 months because we forget they're there,
Yeah.
and have one here or there. So yeah, it's all about, enjoying life, but also
For
being
sure.
respecting your body, being mindful. If you are want peak performance, definitely the new documentary on Netflix. It's called Game Changer. It does
Oh, I
show a
seen
lot
it.
of great research about professional
Yep.
athletes eating vegan and how it's increased their performance, even in the bedroom. So on that note, guys,
100%.
you want to be healthier in the bedroom, then eat more greens.
100%. 100%. People don't understand the food that they're eating, especially men. They're actually, you know, turning them a different direction, honestly, but I won't get into that. For sure.
Well, you know what?
Um,
Motivation is big.
For sure. I do want to ask you though, what is like the process that somebody can expect when somebody goes and sees you?
I have a lot of easy ways to see me. Um, I give anybody a free 10-minute consultation over the phone or in my office. So, sometimes I do that. Um, a lot of times, people already know that they want to see me for acupuncture because they were referred. And as I said, a lot of I see patients a lot based on referral basis. So, then they already know they want acupuncture. I have the cheapest rates around still. I changed them a couple years ago at the beginning of COVID, and I downsized my office, and I've just left the prices there. So, my services are the cheapest around, from the lab work. All of it's anywhere from like, $100 to $400 at the most. A lot of the acupuncture stuff is billable. So I do a lot of insurance billing with people. So that needs to be checked
Nice.
before they come in. So if, say, they have insurance, they need to call or email us their insurance card. We can check it that way, and then get back with them if they have coverage. There is some of a little bit of a waiting list for some billing patients, depending on what insurance they have. Um, Cash patients, like I said, a lot of times it's, I want to see you. I want acupuncture. If they don't know what they want, then I spend 10 minutes with them over the phone or whatever to see what services they might need.
Nice, nice. Okay.
So they could
And what
they
would
could
you
call
say
on
the best
schedule or schedule online. Go ahead.
Cool, cool. What would you say the best compliment you've ever gotten would be?
Oh, well, best compliment. Well, I don't know. I mean, I do feel like the best compliments from the Lord, because I get confirmation all the time I'm
That's true.
doing his work and serving, doing my purpose, living my purpose. I was born a healer. I did a lot of soul searching and work on myself to know that this was, so that's the greatest compliment, is that I know that I'm living my purpose and serving the public that way.
Wow. Nice.
But I was nationally recognized as an expert in low
Nice.
back pain. So I was on national TV, which
Wow.
was cool. That was my claim to fame.
Wow. How'd you get that? Like, what do you have to do to get through
Well, at
that?
the time, I was working in
Like,
a
how'd they
large
recognize
neurology
you?
group. So I've worked in family practice groups. I worked with chiropractors. I've worked with all kinds of doctors, orthopedics. But I worked in a large neurology group in Broward called Sunrise Medical Group. They've now sold it to a larger company and expanded even more. But so yeah, we had a lot of great opportunity there. But I got to help a lot of people there. I worked with we had 40 other doctors. There was 3 females, I think, in the group. I was one of the 3 females. And so that was my claim to fame there, was low back pain. So I got the gig.
And how long were you there?
I was there for 3 years.
Oh, okay. And then how long
Mhm.
did you say you've been doing this?
Well, October will be 18 years. So I've been in
Wow.
Boynton Beach for 18 years in different
Wow.
locations.
That's crazy. Hey, that's
Yeah, I
awesome though.
can't
I mean,
believe it. I can't believe
you're
it's
helping
been
a
8.
lot of people. That's crazy. I mean, you're helping a lot of people though. That's probably what we need right now. With the way food is and this and that, and I mean, we need more
It
doctors
is.
that are actually going to be interested in the client. You know,
Some of these are
that's
very
awesome.
simple solutions. I'm telling you, I'm all about, sending people home with stuff to do. Like, here it is. This is what you need to do. You get to have some personal responsibility in it. And so I'm very big on that. And like I'm big on home remedies. So a lot of stuff I teach, it's like, here, you can do this at home. And then, you're not having to see me or having to see another doctor. This is your solution, and you can do it yourself at home, or you can come and see me and I'll
Yeah,
do,
for sure. Can
you
can
know,
we can we? I mean, that would be good. Like, what are some tips that maybe people can do at home? I mean, I know you gave a couple of them, but
Mhm.
let's say I got headaches, right? Like, I get a lot of headaches. What are some things that I could do, for example, if I get a headache here or there?
Right. Well, most people don't remember that, a lot of times we think of dehydration with a headache. So the
That's
first thing
true.
I tell people is make sure you have like a bottle, you're having Gatorade in the house, right? And we live in Florida, it's hot here. Sometimes we do need something more than water. Your body's like a car. Sometimes the radiator's got a hole in it, right? And you're peeing more than you're drinking. So there's these mechanisms that get off in the body. That's where like the acupuncture works a lot with correcting those kind of things. But I have a lot of people that are like, yeah, I pee a lot, but I don't drink a lot, or I don't pee a lot. So there's
That's
definitely,
true.
there's a lot to be said about the hydration of the body. So I tell that for people first. I'm like, all right, so plus I'm very east west. So sometimes I tell people, especially if they're used to caffeine, try an Excedrin. I mean, I am about, like I said, in that emergency
I
situation,
gotta
if you got to
stop.
go to bed, or You got to get up, so there are some over the counter stuff that's safe to take here or there, but try have the Gatorade, have some food. A lot of times I'm finding mostly my male patients are not eating enough calories in a day, right?
Mm.
So you could be that guy, right? It's like you're going all day and then you don't eat till nighttime and then you're getting a headache at night. It's because the body's not getting enough calories throughout the day. So it's like I said, some of these things are easily to fix. It's just like looking at your habits.
Yeah, what do you recommend for like to replace coffee? Because I'm going through with
Right.
it.
So, and that's another thing, like low energy. What's good remedies for low energy? Make sure you get enough sleep, right? Um, and see, and that's the thing. If you find yourself relied on coffee, then that's a whole nother conversation to have, right? But
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
very big on mushroom coffees. If you know me, you know I love my
Oh yeah,
mushrooms.
you told me.
So
Yep.
I love mushroom coffees. They're good. Some of them are good on their own, where it's just mushrooms. They put it and they make it into like a powder, so you can make, put it in your cup. Make like an instant coffee out of it. You can brew some of those mushroom coffees. Um,
Doc,
and then there's a lot of companies that mix the mushrooms with the coffee. And
doctor,
so I like those as well.
I think you should sell your own mushroom coffee.
I am going to be coming out with my own line. And
I'm
so I'm
telling
gonna
you.
have some hangover stuff. I'm gonna have some stuff like that for stimulation, because the mushrooms do make you feel amazing. And I'm talking like
Wow.
cordyceps and stuff that we don't naturally eat. Certain mushrooms that are more, reishi mushrooms. Those are more kind of used more so in China. They're a little bit earthy for us to eat here, but they can mix them with the coffees and make them delicious.
No,
So,
yeah.
and
I
they're
mean,
great for your body's, yeah, immune system.
yeah, I've actually read some things on mushrooms. It is crazy, like how good they are for you. People don't even understand. Like people really slack on mushrooms, and I know I used to really bad. Like I wouldn't eat a mushroom for anything, but they are
Right.
actually really good for you. Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, there's a famous formula, and it's a variety of different mushrooms that we use for cancer. So, and that's like super expensive, to get that. But,
Wow.
mushrooms are, have a lot of antioxidant properties. They will protect your body. They will strengthen your body. Those are the things, like if
Yep.
if you're tired all the time, you got to do the mushrooms. It's why really the mushrooms are very helpful for that. The adaptogens,
Yep.
so, and that's where we're at. Everybody's picking up themselves from COVID, and it's not, if you didn't get sick, you feel the heaviness of the world on your shoulders, and it really
Yep.
takes a lot more effort. Especially being that we have vaccines being widely, out there, instead of people doing the supplements and eating healthy, they're going to do an easy fix, which is not always going to be the right thing for everybody.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hmm.
So I did want to ask you, Doc. Tell us a little bit about how you kind of grew up. How you kind of how you made your way maybe into your profession in a way, right? Just so people can get to know a little bit about you.
Well, I I grew up, my parents came from Wisconsin, so, and my mom grew up on a farm, so she,
Oh wow.
yeah, so my grandfather always had a farm, and like my one of my aunts, that, God bless, she's still alive and getting around really good. She still has a farm too. So, I was brought up with, fresh
Wow.
vegetables
That's
and
awesome.
fresh canned stuff, things made with love. You grow your own stuff. Even though my parents moved here to Florida when I was 4, my other grandmother decided to retire in Florida, and I ended up in St. Petersburg, and I grew up in St. Pete on the other coast of Florida.
Wow.
So, that folk
Nice.
medicine is in all of our roots. It was kind of close to me, because my family, did grow up on a farm, and, you're an hour away from a hospital. And if anything goes down, you need to know how to handle things yourself,
For
so
sure.
a lot of it came from that. And I had a lot of my own health issues. I couldn't, when I was younger, um, I had a lot of health issues. And like I said, I got to a point I really couldn't afford, even with insurance, it was very difficult to afford the healthcare that I needed at
Mhm.
the time. Um, so I just, was natural for me to look for other solutions. But
You
yeah,
you
my family's really into that.
you didn't know me.
Yeah, right now. See, so my family's still very into, canning, growing their own vegetables. And, my aunt still makes a smoothie every morning, and it's gritty. It's like you drink it. It's like, what is it? She's like, flaxseed. It's got flaxseed and it's good for you.
I love them. I love them. Yep. Yep.
So
That's
I
how
was
it
always
is.
into kind of trying anything like that. And my parents,
Nice.
were very supportive when I didn't want to go through Western medicine with my health issues. They were like, okay, well, you got to figure it out. What you going to do instead?
Yeah. What were you doing before you got into like being a doctor and things like that? Like once you actually like before you found out you had an interest in that, or was it
Right.
like
Well, I played,
all your whole life you just wanted to do that?
right. Um, I always did, want to be a doctor. I mean, I always wanted to serve like that, or serve in some sort of way.
Wow.
But I played a lot of sports. I grew up playing sports. And so I did play sports in college. So I do want to say that was a job, because I did get paid for it. And I played the Junior Olympics. I played softball in the Junior Olympics. So, a lot of that was paid stuff. And so I really thought I was going to be a
Wow.
professional athlete too at one time, but I had too many sports injuries. So that went out the window. So, my dad said, hey, if you're going to be a doctor, you should go to business school, so you know how to run a business. So I ended up in business
That's
school.
true.
And at that time I was working at Publix.
Wow.
I'm retired from Publix now. I was there like 10 years
What?
through high school and college. It was my first job.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I didn't play around. I was
What?
I was hustling at like 4 years old, selling perfume. Swear to God.
That's
I always had
crazy.
this little entrepreneur thing
I did the
inside of
candy.
me. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, and I did sell candy.
What?
Oh yeah, I used to sell. I know. I don't want to, because my kid might see this one day, but I did used to sell cinnamon toothpicks. I don't know if you remember that, but we used to do that in school. But you used to make like five or
What?
10 toothpicks with cinnamon oil, and you would boil them in cinnamon oil,
What?
and then you would wrap them in aluminum foil.
Wow.
And then I would do like 50 of those. Some would have five, some would have 10, and I would sell those in school. And I
That's
don't remember, it was
funny.
like 50 cents or a quarter for five, I think. 50 cents for 10, maybe. And yeah, you had this, like, yeah,
Wow.
because that's the only thing you could do is you could suck on a toothpick in class, but that was about it.
Wow. Hey, that's creative though. I'm not gonna lie.
So
That
I
is
pretty
creative.
much, I didn't grow up with money. I put myself through college, and my dad and brothers helped with things, because they were roofers. They would go and fix the college dorms once they did,
Wow.
because there was a hurricane. Yeah, so it took a family effort to do that. I really am the breadwinner of the family, and went the
Wow.
furthest when it comes to education. But it does take, a lot of people to back you up. And I worked my butt off, and I found out bartending was going to pay off, and serving was going to pay off more than working at Publix. So then that's what I did my last so
Yeah.
many years
Sure.
while I was in graduate school and so on. Is I always had one or two jobs, and it was usually bartending or waitressing somewhere.
For sure. And and I caught earlier how you said that you were really into like the personal development. Like people don't understand how important that is. Like I remember my whole teenage years, I felt so lost. But once I started hanging around people that just thought differently outside of my circle and just started reading, the books and just learn. I mean, people don't understand when you pick up a book, you are going into the mind of somebody that's out of your circle that thinks completely different, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's so huge, it's so big, like if you want to get do better in life and this and that and do different things, sometimes you have to step out of your circle. Don't you agree?
You know what? We we need to start taking accountability, personal accountability for
Hmm.
ourselves, right? So yes,
For sure.
you I mean, if someone's saying, "Oh my goodness," like, "Oh," I mean, anybody could do what I'm doing in a way, you know? I mean, yes, I have 20 years of experience. No, you're not gonna get that right off the bat, but,
Of course.
you know, anybody could find their purpose. Anybody can heal themselves from chronic disease as I did myself or manage it as I have for myself. It takes effort, and it doesn't take a lot of effort. Some of it is spending time with God or with nature, and
Mhm.
putting your feet in the sand a little bit, right? And
Yeah,
having those moments, but it is very important that
for sure.
people are more mindful and are looking for other solutions. Don't take that you're going to be sick or that this you're going to have the rest of your life. Don't believe that. I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Don't believe it for yourself, and you can change those things.
And when it comes to your health, I'll be honest with you, I've done the Googling. There is so much wrong information on Google. It's ridiculous. I mean, I'm not an expert, right? But I've practiced with my own body and I go on Google and I'm like, dude, I know that does not work. Like I've tried it. So you definitely want to stay away from that as much as you can, for sure.
Oh, it's on both sides. I mean, ooh, lights just went out for a second. I mean, it's on both sides. I mean, you have a
Hmm.
lot of misinformation, so many ways out there, right? Comes out every
Hmm.
way. So, I mean, we have a lot of, censored information these days. There's a lot of censoring going on. And,
100%.
it just, it takes us to get educated and to start reaching out.
100%. Now, I did want to ask you, what's one lesson your job has taught you that you think everyone should learn at some point in their life?
Um, Back to personal responsibility,
Yep.
Um,
Accountability.
you know, um, if you're taking a medication and it's not working for you, that's not your doctor's fault, it's both of
Yep.
yours fault, there's a lack of communication. Um, so it's about, it really is. I mean, I think that was the biggest thing, like, oh my God, I did this to myself, like I can't, I can't blame
For
the flu
sure.
food anymore. I can't blame my parents. Like I have to start taking responsibility that, I decided to jump off the mountain, not knowing what was underneath, kind
For
of thing.
sure.
But I think
For
that's
sure.
big, because to be healthy and to be happy even takes a effort and it takes dedication, you know,
For
and it
sure.
is all full circle.
And at what time of day do you get your best work done?
Oh, morning time. Morning
Morning? You're a
time, I
morning
spend my
person?
time with the Lord, and then and that's the thing, I'm very ADD-ish, so I have found a lifestyle, and that's the thing. You can create whatever you want for yourself. Like even at work, I see patients for a certain solid period of time, so I'm focused and in that space. And I don't do anything else. I'm not doing paperwork. I'm not doing anything else. I'm in that mindset, and then when I'm, maybe at home doing paperwork, I give myself, because it's not my favorite thing to do. So I give myself like 3 hours, and I'm knocking out, and
Yep.
then
Yep.
maybe I'll go and, go for a bike ride or something and take care of those other health needs that I have,
For
which
sure.
is very important. People get out in nature. You're like a tree, you're a plant, you're part of the
For
earth. You
sure.
have to be in the sun, you have to be outside. And so to me, that's part of like my daily routine is like prayer and meditation, and being in nature
Yep.
is it has to be part of it, let alone paperwork and all that other fun stuff.
Yeah, yeah. No, I definitely agree. I mean, sometimes even myself, being a health insurance agent, it does get busy, right? Customer service, this and that. But I have to like catch myself and say, okay, don't skip the gym just because you're chasing this, right? Don't forget your health just because you're chasing this, right? Don't forget the time with your kids and this and that. So you have to definitely be conscious, right? And like you
Mhm.
said, accountable with yourself, and not forget the health part of it, because what good is all this money? What good is this and that if at the end of the day you're sick? I mean, I've heard many times people say, the only thing a sick person wants is their health back, right? So definitely,
Right.
definitely agree with you. Now, I
And
do
I
have
agree. And
some.
I've been there. I've burnt myself out. I've done it.
No, yeah, I mean, I catch myself sometimes and all the time, honestly, when I'm like, oh, you
Hmm.
know what? I'm gonna make a couple. I have a couple appointments. No, no, you know what? You need to go to the gym instead. Go to the gym at the time you said you were gonna go. The appointments can wait, right? That's the reality of it. So I do have some off the wall questions for you. If you could have coffee with any historical figure, who would you choose?
Oh boy. Oh, wow. Figure. Hmm. Who would it be? Oh, I don't know.
I mean,
Jesus.
anybody, any. Hey, there you go. There you go.
I have
Preach
some
it. Preach
sit down with Jesus, but
it.
I think he talks to me all the time anyways, but yeah, I would like to have some coffee with him one day. Some mushroom
Preach it.
coffee.
Preach it. Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
I think I'm about a little bit of both. I
Yeah.
got both sides of I got a little bit of
Wow.
everything, I think. It just depends the setting, you know.
Yeah.
I love dancing and I can be like that, but there's times where I can I need to be with it, be by myself, or I might not
Of
be
course.
as, but most of the time very outgoing. So if I'm in that other space, it's definitely I'm like in that, deep space at times, but
For sure.
mostly
For
out,
sure.
out.
For sure. And if you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, I would say salad pizza.
What?
I
What
like
was
that.
that?
Pizza. It's like pizza with salad
Pizza?
on top.
Really? That's funny. I actually went to
You never
Olive
had
Garden
salad
the other day, and
pizza?
I'm not gonna lie. I put the No, I haven't. I haven't. But I went to Olive Garden the other day, and I actually put salad in my soup, in my gnocchi soup. So if we're being honest here,
See,
that's
there you
funny. That's
go.
funny. And what what's one question you wish I'd asked you, and how would you have answered?
Oh,
It could be about your business. It could be about
oh yeah,
anything.
no. Craziest thing you ever did. I was waiting for you to ask
Oh,
me that
there
question, but
you
you didn't.
go. What's the craziest thing you've ever did?
So when I was a kid and my parents would forget to take me to ballet class, I would steal the car at
Oh
11
my
years
god.
old. Oh yeah, and drive myself to ballet. Oh yeah,
That
I did
is
that a bunch of
crazy.
times.
My cousin used to do things like that with me, and I'd be like, "No." That's awesome. All right. And what are three books you'd recommend to my audience and why?
Well, definitely I like The Plant Paradox by Dr. Grundy. I think that's great. He talks a lot about that the two different kinds of dairy, right?
Mhm.
Plus he has done a tremendous amount of research, thousands of researched patients. That's what we want. We want research. We don't want, it's nice to have
Mhm.
someone's opinion. That's great too. But when you got this solid research, which he has, um, on what they call lectins, which is, so there's more to be that. So his idea in the plant paradox is that the skin and seeds of a lot of vegetables are poisonous. So, we just got to be careful that we're not, eating these things every single day, so there was a lot of truth to that. I found that pretty fascinating. So definitely recommend that book. um I like Eat Right for Your Blood Type. I like that one as well.
I've heard of that.
That's a
Yeah.
cool book. It basically, yeah, have you read that one?
I've heard of it. I've
Yeah, so
actually studied things like that.
that's very cool. So
Yeah.
basically is, according to your blood type, there are specific diets or certain foods you should eat or you can't eat more of based on your blood type.
Hmm.
So some blood types have more acid in their stomach, we know, right?
Hmm.
So they can have more animal protein. Some people, um, their animal proteins like poisonous to people that have an A blood type, you know? So, um, you can't eat a lot of animal protein with it. So that's fascinating. I really love that book.
I
And I
love
find
it.
that,
I love it.
these both of them have diets, and studying these diets are fascinating.
Yep.
And then for our scholars and people that are interested in learning more about Chinese medicine, The Web That Has No Weaver is another book. And it's basically a great book that explains Chinese medicine. Um, very I don't know. It's just an amazing book. It's called The Web That Has No Weaver. So there you go, guys.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for hopping on. I know you've
Thank
been
you.
very busy, but you took an hour out of your time to definitely come, give everybody a bunch of value. I have all your information down below, of course, but what's a good way people can reach you if they need to get a hold of you?
Well, you can call at 561 or you can email at docpope1@gmail.com, even the website, social media. Um, I correspond all different kinds of ways. So I will
She's
say
everywhere.
that I am very busy and I'm so grateful to be busy. So please, if you're interested in seeing me, give us your information. If you even have to go on a waiting list, please come in. We're looking forward to seeing you. Like I said, and we do have a lot of availability, or I have a lot of availability for home visits right now. So I am starting a home health business right now. So, and my prices are so cheap, you pretty much can, have me come to your home with the acupuncture for as cheap as it is to go to another doctor locally for the same visit. And you have to
Wow.
drive to their office. So,
Wow.
yeah, so I'm open for home visits for sure on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
Tuesdays
Well,
and
hey,
Thursdays, I mean, Tuesdays and Saturdays, I see patients in the office.
awesome, awesome. Well, hey, there you have it, guys. If you want to see a professional, if you want to see an expert, and you don't have to just, follow me and listen to my herb thing, take it from her. She knows what she's talking about. So yeah, guys, there you have it. Thank you so much, doctor. I'll be seeing you soon. You have a good night,
Thank
and
you,
again, thank you
Gordy.
so much for
Appreciate
coming on
you.
here. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, guys. So there you have it, Dr. Carmion Pope. She's just wonderful. I actually have sat down with her a couple times, and the knowledge she has, it definitely helps, right? Nobody's saying, "Hey, go ahead and stop seeing your doctor" or anything like that. But it definitely helps to get a second opinion and try things out. If you're sick, if you have conditions and things like that, and they're just not getting better, you need to get a second opinion. I mean, look what I did. My grandmother, on 13 different medications. Doctor didn't want to get her off. Doctor didn't want to get her off. And then when I actually just took her to a different doctor, all medication's gone. So, guys, you have to be conscious about who you're seeing, the decisions you're making every single day, and there you have it. Now, as far as health insurance, you guys know if you guys need anything, I can help you out. If you have a doctor practice, if you're a doctor, things like that, I can also help you out with your health coverage. And again, if you're overpaying for your health insurance, give me a call. I can probably find you something better. We have PPO networks available. There's $0 deductible plans available, right? So there you have it. I am the health insurance dad. And again, thank you guys for joining the live, and I'll be seeing you soon.